Hello, and welcome to the Director's Chair. I'm Terica Black, and this week we'll be featuring Kael McCall and Dalton Sherrill of Studio24. Before that, let's take a look at some industry news. Ireland's film industry is booming after a 40% increase in 2021 from the growing demand for content on streaming platforms. A producer commented that, quote, 25 years ago, there was one big film a year with the entire industry involved. Ireland now hosts dozens of international feature films and TV shows. Part of the increase is to fill a global demand for content over streaming platforms, including Netflix, Amazon, and Disney+. Sound and visual effect companies change their business model to thinking strategically into making the shows internationally. The Polish Filmmakers Association, alongside Poland's Kamermidge Festival, are offering employment to Ukrainian refugees after the recent Russian attacks on the country. The association's president wants to provide families with accommodations and transport across the Polish border and give employment opportunities to those who have been displaced by the combat. The director of the Kamermidge Festival is, quote, prepared to find or create jobs to accommodate the refugees. Other responses to the recent attacks include red carpet protest appearances among Poland's filmmakers and audiences at the Polish Film Academy's 2022 Eagle Awards. And lastly, the Universal Pictures is the first Hollywood studio to adopt the latest version of the Academy color encoding system, which it plans to begin using towards the end of the year. This new color standard will provide Universal Pictures with more standardized color management methods for both production and post-production. The first film to be made with this new color system will be Steven Spielberg's upcoming film, The Fabelmans. And we'll be right back with this week's film. Welcome back. Let's take a look at this week's films, including a debut of Studio24's Don't Press Record.
Don't come any further. Who are you?
My name's Jackson. I'm just a traveler.
Have you been bitten or infected?
No, I haven't. I'm friendly. I promise. I'm not here to hurt you. Hell, I didn't even know there was anyone else out here. I've been traveling for a few days. You think I can crash here?
Name's Dalton, by the way.
It's nice to meet you, Galen. So, is that hatchet the only thing you got to protect yourself from those biters?
Biters. I've been calling them the infected. I used all the ammo I had to clear this place of them. I mean, it wasn't very populated to begin with, so now I just get a couple walk up every now and then. So what about you? You don't seem so strapped yourself.
I'm not. I've just been traveling around, Haven't seen anything like this, though.
Okay, well, what would you consider this?
Survival. Not like this, though. Every campsite that I've came across has been destroyed by those biters. You seem to be doing well for yourself. And the craziest thing is, you're all alone.
It hasn't been easy. Well, anyways, I'm gonna go get us some firewood so we can stay warm tonight. Go ahead, unpack, make yourself at home. Man, I can't tell you how good it feels to have conversation again. I probably haven't seen anyone in what feels like a year. I don't even count the days anymore.
Hey man, I understand that. I couldn't tell you how long this has been going on for.
I just get so lonely out here sometimes. Usually the highlight of my day is talking crap to the infected before I put them to rest.
Yeah, I understand loneliness too. But you should be proud of yourself. Not many are able to adapt and survive like you did.
That means a lot. I'm sure as a survivor you're proud of yourself as well. But it's just hard not to think about everything we lose to get here.
Well, accepting the past is just a part of life.
Right. So you're a traveler. Where are you headed?
Just a small town about 100 miles north.
Gotcha. So what's there?
Well, I grew up there. Figured I'd go and see the old house. If it's all right with you, I'd like to stay here a couple days. I need some rest.
Absolutely, Jackson. I really enjoyed the company, so stay as long as you'd like.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. If you don't mind, I'm gonna go get some rest. I've covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah, go for it. Now I should be doing the same.
Well, good night, man. It was nice meeting you.
You too, man.
See anything you like?
Oh, you scared me.
Sorry, I just saw that you had your eye on that camcorder.
Yeah, how much for it?
For that old thing. I don't know, how about like $20?
$20 sounds perfect.
Just out of curiosity, what is it that you want with this old thing?
I'm actually taking a documentary class and I wanted to use a real camera, so I came here to save a couple bucks.
I do want to add that it may not even work anymore. It's been returned twice now.
Have they said what was wrong with it?
No, neither of them returned it in person. Just turns up in the mail a few days after I sell it.
Well, I'll make it work. say I really like your shoes.
Hey, thank you. Thanks.
Hey, if you don't mind me asking, where did you get them from?
Hey, hold on. Listen, I'm in kind of a big rush here. I got them at Off-Broadway. They were on sale, I think. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Hey, why are you apologizing? It's not your fault.
God.
Hey, stop, where are you going?
Stay tuned. We'll be right back for Kael and Dalton of Studio 24. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I'm here with Kael and Dalton, the directors of Alone and Don't Press Record, to talk about their films. Kael, Dalton, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us on.
Thank you.
Thanks. So I'm just going to hop right into it. The first film we will be discussing is Alone. And the audience kind of hears an ambiguous noise. It sounds like an animal growling. What's the significance of this noise?
So I throw it in right off the bat, and you see a zombie kind of fall into the frame to throw you in the universe of this is a film about a guy in a zombie apocalypse. And you hear it again just to reinforce the fact anymore, because he meets somebody and kind of gets off the topic, and then towards the end it's time for him to wake back up, and he hears the noise again, and then it's time for him to wake back up and realize the world that he's in.
Wow. So I see a theme here. It's kind of interesting, the apocalyptic aspect, and you know, a lot of people have been alone these past few years. How did you come up with that?
So my biggest inspiration for Alone would be probably The Walking Dead, and you know, in a time of making this during the pandemic and everything, you really couldn't get a whole bunch of people together, so to make a film with one or two characters and then end up having the guy alone really just kind of worked out.
So I see that you both are best friends.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how you created your filmmaking. And in the beginning of the film, he's kind of looking at a group of friends in the photograph. So what's the significance in the friendship aspect of your film?
So, the significance of the picture is really just that the other character in the film that was played by our really good friend Tyler Shannon, he is in the picture that he's looking at.
Oh.
And so it kind of just adds to this dream sequence of that he's making all of this up, and to really just, we just thought it was really cool to be able to have a picture of our friendship also in our film.
Wow. So a phrase that I believe is notable is, have you been bitten or infected? Is that correct?
Yes.
And the initial statement comes about when Dalton and Jackson first meet. So what is the significance of this phrase?
So Dalton has been out there by himself. He talks about how he cleared the place. He's been there for a long time. And for him to see somebody actually real and that's actually able to have conversation with him, the first thing he does is doubt it. And he wants to know if this guy is a zombie or is about to turn into a zombie.
Wow. So the next question I have is, I think it's significant to note that both characters, Jackson and Dalton, have been out and off the grid for at least a year or so. And I believe Jackson says this notable quote, "I haven't seen anything like this before." And he's referring to Dalton's survival. He's unharmed. It seems like he's pretty well protected. So I wonder, you know, it's a head scratcher because he's all alone. So how does he manage this?
So their interaction takes place completely within Dalton's head while he's dreaming. He's so lonely out there that he's dreaming of meeting somebody. And so where that comes in is that Dalton, refresh me on the question.
Yeah, so basically I want to know if being alone is a strategy for staying alive.
It's just kind of been his strategy.
Okay.
And so him dreaming about meeting someone and telling them they've never seen survival like this before, he's essentially congratulating himself through the dream, his subconscious.
Yeah. So whether being alone is a strategy for survival or not, obviously it's his survival. Dalton expresses that he gets lonely, and the highlight of his day is talking crap to the infected. So could you elaborate on this statement by Dalton, and who actually is the infected?
The infected to him is the zombies, and you know, he doesn't talk to anybody. He doesn't have anyone to talk to, not even a pet out there. And so for him to, when he sees a zombie roll up, he gets to talk to him a little bit, you know. He has somebody to talk to for a second at least.
I know if I saw a zombie, I'd be trying to run, especially out in the forest.
Dalton's not afraid.
He's a daydreamer.
Right. So at the end of the film of Alone, Dalton invites Jackson to stay at his campsite, and he actually says that he hasn't seen a campsite that has not been destroyed, basically. So all of a sudden the scene changes, and it seems like Dalton has been daydreaming the whole entire time. So how did you come up with the scene change, and what made you create that?
I think it's actually, it probably spored from a popular Walking Dead theory that Rick is in a coma the whole time. And I just kind of thought, you know, I don't really want any of it to actually happen. I couldn't take much of it over the top because for the project, it was for Single Cam 1, and they really wanted no like action sequences. I couldn't move the camera much. It had to be stationary. So with the limitations, I just thought going with like a wake up, it never happened ending fit.
Well, that's very different from the last film we talked about last week, because it was definitely over the top.
Right.
He was arguing over someone drinking his orange juice. So it's funny that you say that. I do have a question about Studio24. How does the collaborative nature of Studio24 affect your filmmaking?
To me, it's everything. No one person could do it alone, and the fact that we've been doing it like together as friends for so long, we're able to all grow together. Like I'll learn something and spitball it to everybody else, or Dalton will come to me and tell me what he's been learning over the past couple weeks, and we all just like to grow together and make films together.
Okay. So I'm going to take a step back and talk about your next film, Don't Press Record. And it centers around a young woman who buys a cursed video camera at a pawn shop. How do you develop this film?
Well, it really all started off of the concept of, okay, I want to have an item. I'm a big time travel guy. I'm really interested in time travel stories. And I was like, what if I could facilitate time travel through an item or a cursed object? And I was like, it would be really interesting to just have a camera you can point anywhere and you can just kind of peer into the past or the future. Like there's a lot of creative ways you could utilize that. And I was like, I want to make a horror film, so let's just combine those two elements. But you could also say, I took a little bit of inspiration. If anyone's ever seen the Goosebumps episode, Say Cheese and Die,
Yeah.
I kind of take that to a different level. I was like, there's more that could be explored there than what they did with it.
Wow. So the film features a lot of advanced cinematography elements like tracking shots and focus changes. What inspired you to weave these so complex techniques into the story?
At this point, I think they've just become second nature. You know, we just consume lots of movies and television, and you just kind of get it through osmosis. You see the techniques and how they're employed and what they're doing to us psychologically, and you just kind of implement them into your own story naturally.
And to branch off of that, I think it also helps that we just digest so much cinema together. Like it'll be 4 members of Studio24 on movie nights all the time, just ingesting as much as we can and learning together.
And how is that with you all being best friends? Is there any bump in the roads you have when creating films?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
It's bound to happen. It's inevitable.
Me and Dalton have different work processes, but since we've been doing it together for so long, since like 10th grade at this point, we just know how each other works, and we've really gotten past a lot of the bumps in the road.
Right.
Wow. So this is the last question, and what I guess upcoming films should the audience know about, if any?
So on YouTube, you can go to Studio24, no spaces. We just put out a Star Wars fan film that we were really, really proud of. A lot of VFX went into it. A lot of the don't press record style cinematography went into it. And then also over the weekend, we did the 54 Film Fest competition and made another zombie film that is kind of what Alone was going to be more originally. And so it's just a little ups the ante a little bit, and that'll be coming out in the next month as well. So.
All right. Well, I know everyone is excited for the next month to come. And that is a wrap for this week's episode of The Director's Chair. Until next time, thank you for watching, and we'll be back in 2 weeks with another film. Thank you. Goodbye.